Okay, so welcome to a new series of Mindful Mornings. So we're being kind of very present to the seasons as usual, and it's a fairly spectacular time of year, autumn. Some years better than others, but currently we've got a lot of colour, quite a lot of change in our physical environment, changing temperatures, winds, rain, sunshine, rainbows, changes in the moon as we always have, but it will feel different at this time of year. So we're kind of establishing a new way of being that sometimes is subtle and sometimes less subtle as we move our way through November and through the season. So in this series of four, we're going to be concentrating on kind of two perspectives, kind of anchoring ourselves to the earth, but also giving us a sense of opportunity to look to the autumn skies as well. So the first two are concentrating more on earthing. So if you are able to see outdoors and have a autumn view, then I'm asking you to take that in. If you haven't got one, then maybe it's just a moment to close your eyes and remind yourself of things that you've seen in the last day, two, or week, in terms of your own kind of landscape and environment. Okay, so I'd like to introduce you to a practice that I would generally do as a walking practice. So this is something you can carry with you as you walk through autumn with autumn around you. But it can be done as a kind of, looking out through a window idea. So this concentration or attention practice is to kind of describe what you're seeing or hearing mainly. Yeah, we'll keep to seeing and hearing. So as we're indoors, the seeing will be more obvious than the hearing, I guess. So it's going to be more of a visual, whether that's in the mind's eye or literally looking through the window. So what this practice is it's about noting what you kind of spot outdoors. So that might be, for me, I've got an apple tree. So it might be just saying apple tree, it might be saying uh, red apple on the tree. So one of the important things, it doesn't matter what you see, it can be a brown leaf or it could be a big thing or a little thing. It could be a mushroom on the floor and on the grass or something, if you could see that well. It can be small, it can be large, it could be a grassed area, it could be a hedge, it could be a tree. And what's good not to get yourself into is thinking, I can't think what that tree's called, and you get all yourself tangled into saying, what is that tree? Just use the word tree if you're not sure, or tree with leaves that I love, or moving leaves, or whatever. Um, Whatever kind of works. Ideally, you're not adding I'd say love, forget that, scrub that bit out. Really, it should be without, it should be just a description. So it shouldn't be kind of like, oh, I hate the litter that's on the floor, or um, yeah, or the love bit. Yeah. So it's not judging whether it's good or bad, it's just describing what is. So we'll have a go at that for just a few moments. So your opportunity to kind of look into your landscape that you either remembered or that you can see out now, and just naming really. Okay, so that's just a taster for you to kind of note, focus, concentrate, give your attention to your environment from inside out. Or, as I say, it's a really good walking practice for those of you that get out, which is many of you. Okay, so um, in terms of our kind of physical movement, so it's quite good to find the earth. So we do this in lots of different ways, but one way we could, I'm suggesting today, is if you're happy to have kind of like prayer hands and pressing the hands together and then releasing. So it's a bit like a pulse, could say it's like a breath. Doesn't have, it's not kind of a strong movement, but it is a kind of, okay, I can feel one hand against the other. I can feel one hand against another. And there is a degree of pressure, but just a soft pressure and a release. And what you could add is a breath out when you push. So you can do that. What I'm experimenting with at the moment is a little bit more of what's called the who breath. So it's kind of a pursed lips, blowing out through the lips on the out breath. The in breath is just through the nose if that works for you. So and what you could do is you can add in the feet, pressing the feet into the floor at the same time. So as you press the hands together, you just press a little bit of the feet into the ground. And if you like using the breath, do that. If you kind of feel like that's not working for whatever reason or doesn't feel good, then leave that one out. So, and then drop in the particular breath work. Breathing, if you can, just through the nose now, if that's comfortable. Again, just feeling the hands against each other, feeling the feet on the floor or through your socks or through your slippers or through your shoes or whatever you're wearing. But just feeling the feet connection and the connection to the ground and feeling the hand connection. Feeling like a connection to yourself. So they're kind of anchoring with the hands internally, maybe, and anchoring with the feet more towards the external, more towards the ground, more towards connection with something else. Hands are towards self, feet are towards the earth. Okay. So if you need to just kind of move to loosen up, maybe the legs up even maybe, so that you can just feel a little bit more comfortable. So sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't help in terms of getting the posture, feeling more clearer, if you like, and it might just give you a greater body sensation. So we want to keep reminding ourselves that we're body, like we're connected with body to the earth. Okay, so I think we can do practice with eyes closed if you're happy to do an eyes closed practice, if you prefer them open or open, close, that's fine. The idea is you just try and keep focus on my voice if it's helpful. And some of the suggestions I might make for the journey. Now, I'm saying eyes closed, but what we're going to do, so there might be times where you don't want your eyes closed. What we've been doing in terms of alternate nostril breathing, we've done various things around that, and we've tended to press the thumb against to close the nostril. We may use another finger if we're doing alternate swaps. what I'm suggesting is see how it feels. You don't have to do this. You can do what we were doing before with the pressing slightly. It's just taking the thumb to block the nostril. So you're not sticking your thumb up your nose, but you are restricting the breath on one nostril. So you could try that out. So we're going to be focusing on closing one nostril for a while and then we'll swap. Okay, so first side, whichever side you choose. If you can keep the mouth closed, that's the idea. And if it's any time uncomfortable or anxiety provoking, you take your hand away. So you can do this with the eyes closed once you've found your nostril. And so just check that that's kind of an okay thing to do. And what we're going to do is just count the breath. So I'm looking at counting from the in-breath. So you feel the in-breath, you count one. Out-breath happens. In-breath again, you count two. Breath happens. Just see how that is. So you're counting and you're counting up to about 10. You may be more than 10, you may not quite got to 10. So if you're ready, just taking the hand out can give the arm a rest as well. See what it now feels like to breathe through both nostrils. And then bring to mind a shrub or a tree or a bush. I'm going to go for kind of like a hedge. Um, I know that'll work for me because what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to imagine taking the color of that tree or that whatever it is that you can imagine, and then touching that plant, tree, whatever. So you don't want anything that feels like it's not going to be that pleasant to touch. Or if it's kind of in a real place and you know you could never actually get to it, it can be a bit, it might not work so well. So don't worry what you choose, but just so you know that initially we're going to start with visual connection, but quite quickly we'll move on to a touch connection. So we're going to kind of get to know autumn through, again, the lens of the eye, which is kind of generally going to be the most connecting. And it might be one color, it might be a range of colors that you see. It may be, if it's leaves, it might be, all the leaves might still be present in that the area you're looking at, or it might be that some leaves are there and some leaves have already fallen to the ground. So it could be leaves that have fallen to the ground if that makes it easier, but then you're going to have to get down and feel those leaves. So it's in the imagination, so it's a clean sport. So it's taking in the colours and the richness and being present to that beauty. Hopefully it's a positive, enriching kind of connection. So you're looking at the tree and experiencing the tree or the plant. It's kind of a relationship that you're really looking, you're really taking it in. And maybe seeing things that you haven't seen easily before. And Then we're going to move on to touch. Yeah, so you're going to have a real kind of deeper connection to the environment by imagining touch, the touch of the leaf, how it might feel, or the touch of the bark or the stems or the plant. It might need to be a really tender touch. It might be you can brush your hand through and across. If it's a tree and it's a trunk, you might be able to walk around the whole of the tree trunk, maybe feeling the tree. So we had our hands together earlier, so now we're kind of reigniting that sense of touch in our imagination through what it might feel like experiencing autumn through touch. Might be moistness to it, quite a lot of rain. But if you want to use your imagination and it's a bright day and a dry day, then the feel would be different. Okay. So we're going to do the other nostril. I hadn't forgotten about the other nostril. No, it's the other nostril's time. So we're going to close the other nostril if you're still with me. And just gently, it's really gentle. And just take a few breaths to kind of get used to how it feels to have um, a restriction to some extent, or a focus, a concentration on the breath through one nostril. And then I'm going to count, but this time I'm going to count at the end of the breath, the end of the out breath, and up to 10 broadly, heading in that direction. Okay, so you may be already there, you may be beyond it, you might not be there, but just release the thumb away from the nostrils so you can feel the breath kind of reignited almost, because you usually get a sense, a greater sense of the breath through the nostrils. Just quite a subtle area to feel the breath. Okay, so we're going to have a different vision and experience. So with our imagination, it could be partly a memory. We're going to imagine walking through leaves in a wood, perhaps. So that you're going to initially just see the leaves around you on the ground. That autumn is releasing. No need to hold on. Times are changing. Letting go. So the leaves are now on the ground. And again, that kind of beautiful kind of arrangement that you can sometimes get of just really different shades, the golds and the browns and the yellows and the reds and the greens, and kind of everything in between, subtleties. And then the imagination is a sense of sound as you walk through leaves. So you've got your feet on the ground. You're stepping and stepping and stepping. But you might get a little bit of if it's a little bit of a dry imagining, you might get that crispy sound. The leaves might be being blown a little bit, so they're kind of going around as well. So there's a little bit of sound from leaves maybe moving slightly independently of your feet. So bring into mind your body in movement, body, your feet having contact with the ground, and the sound of the leaves on the ground around the feet. Okay. So we're going back to nostril number one. And we're going to block, close that nostril in through the nose, through the nostril, keeping the mouth closed if we can, subtly, gently. And we're just going to be kind of listening out, taking our attention to the breath and just noticing initially whether you can spot any pauses between the in-breath and the out-breath. And the answer might be no. Just being interested and curious if there's any space between the end of the in-breath and the beginning of the out-breath. And then release. So feeling the breath through both nostrils now. And see if you notice a pause at this point between the in-breath and the out-breath. So nostril two, just closing that for a moment. So focusing on the whole of the breath. So the wave-like motion of the breath. And then release the nostril and feel the whole of the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath as a whole. So, with a focus on feeling really connected to the earth, really connected to the ground, anchored, grounded, whatever word makes kind of sense, just connected. You can ask yourself if there's anything you kind of need to be supported, to be nurtured at the moment. Are you already feeling nurtured? Is it easy right now to feel gratitude or less easy? Is it easy right now to feel cared for or less easy? Is it easy right now to accept things as they are or more difficult? Is there anything that autumn can offer to nurture you right now through its opportunity to rest and reflect? This opportunity to recognize that change is constant. Nothing good, nothing bad will last forever. Be a change, be a move. And just bring the hands back into prayer mode if you're comfortable with that. Feeling the hands against each other. Don't need to press them, but just feeling them. And same with the feet, feeling the presence of the feet and the connection to the ground. Connection of the hands, feeling like a sense of coming home. The internal presence and focus of the feet, reminding you that you're connected to the ground. Okay, and if the eyes are closed, then a little bit of a flicker to open them. And just let the hands come down where they're comfortable. Have a little bit of a move. You need a yawn or a stretch or a reach, whatever. Okay, so happy autumn, whatever the weather. So we're going to stick close to the earth next week too. So opportunity to try your walking attention, mindful walks. Just noticing as is, no good, no bad, just for a short while on your walk. See how that makes you feel afterwards, maybe any different to how you would feel. So partly we're trying to get away from just the constant thoughts that kind of be naturally coming through, and that's fine. That's what minds do. But sometimes maybe we can take a bit of a break and the ways to do that. So thank you for presence, and I shall see some of you if you can make it next week. Okay, love to see you all again. Bye.